Hello everybody, this is Tucker Miller here again, and tonight, like I said for my next movie review, I'm gonna be reviewing on The Sword in the Stone. Came out in 1963. So anyways, let's get to the plot. So the plot of this movie is, at the beginning there's this backstory, how the king of England passed away and he didn't left an heir to the throne. So, and there's this sword in the stone. Got this sword in the stone, and they say that whoever pulls the sword out of the stone is will be the next king. But every many people have tried pulling the sword out of the stone, but they fail too. And yeah, and so England does not have a king. So, however, we got this boy named Arthur, aka Wart. He met this who was a 12-year-old boy, and he lives with his father, Sir Edgar, and his brother, Sir Kay. So, and yeah, all he does is do chores around the castle and etc. And then Arthur met this wizard named Merlin, who was this character, and this educated owl named Archimedes. Merlin decided to teach Merlin decided to teach Arthur or Wart to teach him from right and wrong, because Merlin sees Arthur to become the next king of England. So yeah. And that's pretty much what the plot of this movie is. Now, what can I say about The Sword in the Stone? I really enjoyed this film. Sword in the Stone is a great classic from 1963, but probably not my favorite 1960s Disney film from the 1960s. That will still probably have to go to either 101 Dalmatians or Mary Poppins. So, yeah. Yeah. But I really enjoyed The Sword in the Stone. It is a great Disney animated classic. Again, I wouldn't consider this to be a favorite, but I still really enjoyed it. This film is just no one doesn't consider Sword and Stone to be their favorite. Sword and Stone is not really a very popular Disney film, but I really enjoyed this film. This is a great film. Like I said, came out in 1963. So, yeah. This is a great movie. Has great animation, great story, great characters. Yeah, this movie is so good. This movie is really good. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. So, yeah. But anyways, let's talk about the characters. Arthur? King Arthur, or aka Wart? King Arthur is a great character. Or King Arthur, Wart, doesn't matter what you want to call him, but yeah. But yeah, King Arthur is a great character. And of course, Merlin, he is a great character. One of the most, I want to say, the most iconic character from this film. So, yeah. Merlin is a great character. And Archimedes, who's the educated owl, Archimedes, he's a great character. Sir Edgar, who was the Arthur's father. Sir Edgar, he's a great character, and so is, and probably have to say the same thing with Sir Kay, who is Arthur's brother. So, yeah. And of course, and Mad Madam Mim. Mad Madam Mim, she is a great Disney villain. She is a great villain. And I do like her song too. So, yeah. Yeah, I really like the songs. I really like, yeah, those are the characters, honestly, those are the characters I can think of on top of my head. I need we'll talk about it in a second, but, yeah, now let's talk about the songs. The song from the beginning where they told the story of how the King of England died, and they talked about the Sword of the Stone. That was a great song, and Hickatus Fickatus, which is the song sung by Merlin. That was a great song, and What Makes the World Go Round is another great song, and the Mad Madam Mim song, that was a great song too. All the songs in this movie were great. Now let's talk about the scenes in this film. Oh, the scene when Merlin and Arthur are Fitch. That was a great scene, and the squirrel scene where this good female squirrel has a crush on Arthur, and when it stopped bothering him, and yeah, that was kind of cute, I will say, but yeah. Yeah, the squirrel scene where the female squirrel has a crush on Arthur. Yeah, that was kind of a cute scene. So, yeah. There was another scene I could talk about, and of course the scene where Arthur pulls the sword from the stone and he became king. That was a great scene, and probably the most iconic scene from this movie. So, yeah. Yeah, as you see in this cover of this VHS, and speaking of which, I got this VHS very recently at an estate sale. This has a sticker label. Boom. So yeah, I got that tape very recently at an estate sale. So, yeah. Figure I point that out. But anyways, back to my thoughts of The Sword in the Stone. So, yeah. Sword in the Stone is a great classic from 1963. Yeah, the scene where Arthur pulls the sword from the stone was a great scene too. So, yeah. Sword in the Stone is a great film. So, yeah. I kind of do recall watching this as a kid, but I might have watched this when I was a kid, but I don't remember much about it when I was little. I didn't watch this film too much as a kid. I didn't watch any other, when I was a kid, when it comes to Disney animated classics that is not Pixar. The ones I remember watching as a kid were stuff like stuff like Pinocchio, Snow White, Pinocchio. I remember watching those as a kid. I remember watching Alice in Wonderland as a kid, and I think I watched Cinderella as a kid. I remember watching Cinderella as a kid, but don't remember much of it. But yeah, I remember watching when I was a kid, I remember watching stuff like The Sword and the Stone, this, Snow White, Pinocchio, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Lady and the Tramp, Sleeping Beauty, The Jungle Book, Robin Hood, and The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, etc. So, yeah. I don't remember watching this as much as a kid, but when it comes to Disney animated films, as a kid, I think ones I do truly remember I watched when I was a little kid were Peter Pan, Lady and the Tramp, Sleeping Beauty, and I think Alice in Wonderland and The Jungle Book. And maybe Pinocchio and Snow White and Cinderella, but yeah. 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 Like I said, my favorite movies I watched a lot during my childhood were Toy Story, stuff like Toy Story, Finding Nemo, Monsters Inc., Ratatouille, Shrek, the Shrek movies, and yeah. And the Toy Story movies, and yeah. Yeah, so anyways, I didn't watch this film as much as a kid, but watching it, I think I started watching this film like a lot more often I believe back in 2019, I think. And I really enjoyed it. So, yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed The Sword in the Stone. The Sword in the Stone is a great classic from 1963. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, I do recommend it. And also, forgot to mention about the music. The music was done by the Sherman Brothers. Like, you know, the Sherman Brothers did the music for this film. And then a year later, in 1964, they worked on the music for Mary Poppins. So, yeah. Yeah. Forgot to mention that when I was talking about the music, but yeah, the music was done by the Sherman Brothers. Which may rest in peace to both of them, I think. I think one of them died last year. Or it could have been both of them. I'll have to look it up again to make sure, but yeah, I know they both, I believe they both passed away. I know one of them did last year, but yeah. But I could be pretty much wrong, but yeah. Yeah, the Sherman Brothers did great for this film. And they also did great for Mary Poppins. They did great for the music in Mary Poppins too, so yeah. The Sherman Brothers did a great job with the music from this film and Mary Poppins and etc. So yeah. Yeah, so anyways, yeah, the Sherman Brothers did great for this film. But yeah. So anyways, Sword and Stone. Great classic for 1963. Pretty enjoyable film, but wouldn't consider it a favorite. But it's still a very enjoyable film. Again, you haven't seen it, I do recommend it. So, yeah. But anyways, that's all I can say about The Sword and the Stone. So anyways, I'm gonna give The Sword and the Stone a 9 out of 10. I could not think of any flaw with this film. So, yeah. But anyways, that is it for my movie review on The Sword and the Stone. And stay tuned for my next movie review, which will be on The Jungle Book. But until then, see you in the next video. Bye.